Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game? Hello, welcome back to another week of Proper Punters. I'm here with professional punters Aaron Macey and newcomer to the show, Tom. Mate, how are we? Podcasting debut.
Good, mate. Thanks for having us.
Talk to me a bit about yourself. What's your background, just so the punters know?
So I've just been betting for a few years now. Worked for a bookmaker and then returned back to just betting.
He's come back to the light side.
Yeah, exactly right, mate.
No
I saw the
arts.
dark side and then wanted to return to the light side.
What got you into wanting to have a crack at professional punting?
Yeah, just when I was 18, fresh 18, went to the pub.
Is that 2 years ago?
No, about 6 years ago. Was just having bets with mates and stuff and thought I better take this seriously before I do all my cash. So just tried to have a more in-depth analysis and have a proper look at it to try and win some money when I went to the pub on Saturday.
Yeah, nice. And so how do you attack your form? What style do you do?
Yeah, so I'm typically just looking at map. Where horses are going to settle, I think, is so important now to the outcome of the race. So I'm usually starting at map, and then I'll go on and I'll look at previous video races, looking at the intent of their runners that they're showing on that race, because you see a lot of...
And so do you do your map from video or do you map from data or both?
Kind of a subjective, like you kind of understand the jockeys, the intent that they're going to show, some trainers, what they're going to show. It's a bit of a subjective feel, and then I sort of overlap that with sort of where they've settled at their last starts and where they naturally like to settle, given their gates and other variables.
Awesome.
Nice, mate. Aaron, you're obviously on a bit of a high at the moment. Big week last week for you, 3 from 3.
Well, look, yeah, the Saturday show was good. It's been a little bit rough since the rain set in. Fuck the rain. It makes me very, very sad and depressed. But last week was good. I was a little bit hurt, a little bit dusty, and pulled one out of my ass and nailed it. And I said I had to after a bit of a shocker the week before. So,
well, it must be a good omen for going forward. Obviously a bit dry this week, so maybe that's not a good omen going into this week.
Nah, we'll be fine.
All right, well, let's get straight into it then. Obviously, we're going to be covering races at Eagle Farm 6, 7 and 8. We'll start off with race 6, the Ascot Green Queensland Day Stakes. Hedged is the favourite. Inhibitions, though, is a truck talent and has placed in all of its last 7 starts at the truck, 3 of those being wins. What are we thinking about this one? Tom, I'll start with you, mate.
Yeah, Tom, I think with each race, what we'll do, especially with speed and maps, but let's, Tom, take us through the speed and the map.
Yeah, so I had a quick tempo here, very fast tempo. There's a few runners that all want to find prominent positions. You've got Outweighed, Zaya, Straka, Tiger Shark, Power Ballard, and Avone. They've all led in their career and will want to be finding prominent positions. I think the favourite Hedged gets a nice run from 7. If Jamie just wants to let the speed go, she could find a nice midfield position, and the same for Inhibitions with J-Mac on, gate 11. I think coming back in distance, he'll want to show some intent, but I think he'll let the speed go and just try and find someone's back to bring him into the straight. Fortuneer, the other market runner, it's drawn gate 2, which I think might be tricky. Was drawn low at its last start as well and found a position off midfield, sort of tucked away on the fence, and I think not sure who's riding that. I think
Fortuneer, Mickey D.
Yeah, Mickey
Just
D.
quickly, he said in barrier 2, you're worried it might be a little bit tricky. Was that because fence was off last start?
Yeah, fence was off last start, and I think he might just have to find a way to get sort of down the middle of the track, and if he has to come up the fence.
It was a bit of a tricky one, Eagle Farm, when they were running there that last start. It was... You wanted to be no worse than probably midfield.
Yeah.
Anything worse than that. So I think people thought because it was off fence, they're running on, but they're not. It's up and off.
Yeah.
So if you get too far back, rail comes out 2 and a bit metres. Do you think it will play a little bit fairer or?
Yeah, should play a bit fairer. Just looking at last week when the rail was in the true, Just Folk was the closest winner to the fence, but he was still 5 off the fence. So I think coming out 2.5, you're still going to see jockeys wanting to get off that inside part of the track. So I think sort of lanes 8 to 10 off will be advantaged.
Yeah, sweet. I think, definitely. I think Hedge seems under the odds here. Yeah. I know I know he's got the very close second, the Jolie Star. If you can reproduce that, it's probably good enough here.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I still think it's a pretty open race. I thought the last start was probably a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
I thought Moriavia, first up run, solid. Corniche, I think that's a decent form line. Getting onto just, I don't know if the heavy really suited first up. I thought getting back to firmer footing will definitely help. Pretty open race. I liked the trial in between runs of inhibitions. Definitely thought could stack up here. J-Mac aboard. Blue horses certainly going well.
Yeah.
I actually thought, two horses completely unsuited on that track last start were Genzano and Fortuneer.
Yeah.
And I really like the way that Fortuneer got motoring late.
Yeah. Well, he actually started favourite in that race. Yeah.
Heavily backed. And I think a thing that's really good to give you a good guide is when a horse is heavily backed, sometimes doesn't go as well, or if map doesn't suit. Goes to show that there was obviously an idea that the horse was going quite good. I'm definitely happy to forgive here, and I think around $9 mark, I think you're getting 20s for Genzano. They're definitely worth a spec. I'm going to have very small bets on Fortuneer, Genzano, and Inhibitions. They're going to be my plays in the race.
All right, perfect. Any other horses you want to bring up? Go to the next one.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
that's fine. Macey said it all.
Yeah, that's me. I'm happy with that. How are you playing, did you say?
Yeah, I thought Hedge was a bit short. I'll probably look to make a book around Fortuneer and Inhibitions as well and take on Hedged.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect.
We're happy families already.
Yeah, lovely. Race 7, Magic Millions National Classic. Lacreche, is it Lacreche? Is that how you pronounce it?
He's fucked up one. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's Lacreche.
All right, perfect. Lacreche is the favourite. Does Gay Waterhouse's Osmose have a chance in this race around the $9 mark, though?
Why don't you kick off with a map and speed here for us again, Tommy?
Another fast tempo, I think. Zoe's Promise, Miraval Rose, Osmose, being from the Gay Waterhouse stable. I think they'll all want to find prominent positions. I think Zoe's Promise could take it up. I think J-Mac can slide across and get a nice map just in behind them with Kansana, Arts Object, and 4 for Cindy, just taking up stalking positions from their low draws. And then out the back, I think you'll see Thalassophile and Foxy Frida. Getting back to your question, I think Osmose is a good chance, but I don't think he represents any value at his current price.
Okay. Let's move back to the favourite. We're sitting around the $2.30 top. It looks to be top odds at the moment. Bar plates. First time.
It's a bit tricky. I'm typically, I'll look around bar plates, especially in that price range. I think if I was getting $12, $15 for a horse with bar plates, and I was happy to find other variables, then sure. But I think at $2.30, I'll just leave it at that price with the bar plates going on.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I'm a huge fan. I've gone back, looked at all of its recent Kiwi runs. I love the first up run, last start over in New Zealand. I love when J-Mac gets booked for these rides. I think he's got a great affinity with these horses. I think he's got an amazing strike rate with knowing when to go on these horses. Bar plates scare the fuck out of me. But this horse as well, it just seems to peak second up. It's had 5 starts second up. It's had the 3 wins. It's never missed the place second up. It looks to be a peak run for it. I think the mile is another peak distance for it. If it didn't have bar plates, I'd just be saying...
Yeah, you'd almost be like $1.80, $1.70.
100% $1.80, $1.70. When he came over, he raced up against, Ice Bath, Mirror Vision in the Empire Rose, beaten, they would absolutely kill this field.
Yeah.
They would be $1.50 in this field.
Yeah, they would.
Bar plate's very scary, but still has to go on top for me. Aside from that, I thought Foxy Frida was good last start, hitting the line.
Yep.
I thought Kansana's win was good, but probably got favours just cutting corner and just popping off.
Yep.
Everything kind of went right.
Yeah.
I just think this, as long as the bar plates aren't stopping it, I think it wins.
Yeah. No, that's probably a fair analysis. I thought Zoe's Promise was half a shout at $16 now. I just can't get that fresh win out of my head. Leading on Eagle Farm and kicking clear at the top of the straight to win by 5 lengths.
Yeah.
I'm happy to overlook one poor performance. Could put it down to flatness second up, or maybe not handling Doomben. Getting back to Eagle Farm, I think, could be its key here. And third up on a track where I think leading will be okay. I think on an each way basis, $16 and $4.50 is okay.
3 winnings in its last 9 starts as well, as always promised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah, I can't bag it. Look, I'm with the favourite. Very scary. With I'm just hoping the bar plate factor. There was a horse.
Could be overlooked, overplayed.
There was a horse that won the country championships. It was what was its name? Out of No Penalty.
We were in bar plates.
Yeah, it had the bar plates on, and it blew.
Another one?
Nah, it was a while back, about 7 years ago, and it won. And everyone got off it because there's bar plates, and that won by about 3 lengths.
Yeah.
They can do it. It's certainly not a plus. I'm hoping the bar plate factor gets this thing out closer to 2 to 1, and I'm very happy to take the gamble.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
All right, then let's move on to race 8, then the Queensland Oaks. A bit of omenery here with the Oaks. Scarlet Oak is the favourite in this one in the Queensland Oaks, so do with that what you will. What other horses are we thinking could win this race? I'll start with you, obviously, with the speed run and your little analysis there.
Yeah, I kind of got a bit confused with this Oaks speed map and kind of just threw it out the window. I wasn't too sure who would take it up. I thought Amazonian Lass and Sox Nation are 2 runners that will want to show speed. And then I think these young Oaks horses will want to find cover, I think. The jockeys will want to kind of find stalking positions to have a back to bring them into the race, especially if they think they're on a horse that
more likely race.
Yeah.
Scarlet Oaks, she's raced kind of a little bit on the chewy, even though she's been dominant in winning.
Yeah.
She will probably roll forward?
I think she'll find a position sort of forward of midfield, yeah. J-Mac will want to look for that.
All right. Where do you want to start here?
I kind of didn't know where to look. I thought the key lead up is the Roses, the race won by Scarlet Oak 14 days ago.
Yep.
But I did a bit of looking back at previous Oaks winners, and the last 3 winners of the Oaks haven't actually come through the Roses. If you look last year, I think Amakura came through a Sunshine Coast Class 1. Duace came through the Sydney Autumn Carnival and then had a bit of a freshen up into the Oaks. So I think you can look past the Oaks and try and find some different form for a race like this. So I was looking.
I love that you're saying that because I've become very, very, very horny for a horse in this race, and that's in Ahuri.
Yeah.
And the form it comes out of the South Australian Derby. Poor Craig Williams, he can cop it in the media at times, and this was not one of his best rides. Like to say the least, held up for a very, very long way, and then when got out, chased home Warmonger, who we saw come out and win last week's Derby by what was it, close to 10 lengths.
Yeah.
And I thought her run was almost probably close to equally as good, very close to. And another thing that I thought was highly impressive, the way that she hit the line, her sectionals late, her closing splits were in like the 19th fastest of the whole day, and that's over 2,500 metres.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that you see horses close off the ends of staying trips and can finish off quicker than some of the sprinters did on the day.
Yeah, it was impressive.
It was highly impressive. Chris Waller has just got an unbelievable knack of getting these horses right. He's got a few. He's got the favourite in the race.
Yeah.
She should have finished so much closer. She was heavily backed in that Derby. Her win at Flemington over 2,800 was highly exceptional. So if it is a bit of a testing run, she can obviously run the extra trip.
Yeah.
The fact that she's drawn out, she's probably going to have to run a little bit of an extra trip. John Allen's going to have a little bit of a job finding a place to get in. I'm not sure where he will settle. That's like when she rolled forward and sat like a lot closer when in the Flemington win. So maybe Will might try and roll forward early and just try and slot in the 3-wide running line.
Yeah.
I think if she can do that, I think she will be hitting the line harder than almost anything in the race.
Definitely.
I think at each way play at the $5-6 mark, $5.50. That's me all day.
Yeah. No. Perfect.
A horse that's been mentioned before on the show, and I just want to get your thoughts before we move forward. Mare of Mount Buller, proven winner in its last 8 starts, has had 5 places, 3 of those being wins. Is there any consideration for this horse?
Yeah, I gave it some sort of a chance. I thought it had to come up the inside last start at Doomben, where I thought was slightly inferior. It sort of hit the line really well, showed really good acceleration.
Well, she ran a really good second, the Scarlet Oak.
Yeah, correct. And
she
just
was doing her best work late.
I thought Scarlet Oak was coming down a better part of the track compared to Mare of Mount Buller. I think the challenge will be Gate 2 again, and sort of where does it get to in a big Oaks field. You'll need a good ride from Tommy Berry to find the front.
What do you make of the Toppy Molly Bloom?
I thought she had a tough run last start in that Rosa. She was kind of out on a limb wide throughout, but I thought she's been correctly assessed for this race. Like, I think $5 she is now. That's kind of where I had her pegged in my market. So I thought the market hasn't missed anything there.
I will make it. There was a little bit of an eye-catching run. It's a horse I've been in love with for a very long time, and that's Kind Words. I thought she was a little bit of an eye-catcher.
Yeah.
Found a little bit of trouble weaving a passage. She was doing her best work late. She's got a task at Paul Zara. She's in 23. It's a tricky one because she has gone forward at times. There's some really... And there was another horse that was highly disappointing last start, even though it was probably against the bias, but still there. In Gentilishi, she had the blinkers first time. Once again, another horse of mine, very disappointing last start.
She won well at Hawkesbury two starts ago.
Yeah, she was absolutely flying up until last start, where she was heavily backed and very disappointing. 14 and 15, Kind Words Gentilishi, they're probably roughies for me, but I'm pretty keen in her Huri each way.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right.
I'm going to give a shout for one at 40s.
Oh, here we go.
One of Waller's off Concello or Concello, however you want to pronounce it. I thought it came through a strong Sydney race last start behind Invincible Spy. Hit the line well off a 28-day break. And I'm happy to forgive her Australasian Oaks at the start before in Adelaide. First time going counterclockwise, but also the first time she tasted a fast tempo. And if you look 2 starts ago, she ran in the Adrian Knox behind Autumn Angel in good banter, which I think is acceptable form for this. I think she draws well, and if there's any sort of blowout, I think at $41.
That could be some value.
Yeah, she's not bad in exotics or first fours.
I could easily see Waller getting the first 4 or trifecta in this race.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, that horse obviously in its last 4 starts in the wet has had 1 second and 2 thirds, so it places well in the wet. So not a bad shout. Not a bad shout at all. All right, well, let's finish off then in race 9, the Star Moreton Cup. What are we thinking for this race? Tom, I'll start with you, mate.
Yeah, I had a quick tempo. Jigsaw, Zoroastro and Insurrection all wanted to find positive positions. I thought Marzu and Valana will get nice gates. Using their nice gates, they'll get nice positions. And then I thought Oprah Ridge, the other market elect, will probably settle a pair or 2 further back from them. But that was kind of all I looked in this race because I thought this was a race of limited chances on class. I thought Marzu and Valana stood out, and I thought Oprah Ridge is sort of the untapped one that could rise to the level of those 2. I was leaning to the way of Valana. I thought Marzu produced a performance 2 back at Randwick on a very heavy track, and we know that he sort of loves to eat up the mud. So getting back to a drier ground, I thought was a negative. And I've still got a query out on Oprah Ridge about whether or not she's a fresh-only horse. Her best run seems to be when first up. Now, second up, she's failed a few times. So it had me left with Valana, who third up now, gets J-Mac on, comes back in distance to the 1200 after the 1350. And if you look back at his Newcastle Hunter win, the stable did the same thing, dropping back to the 1300 third up after racing at 1500 second up. So I think this is a bit of a set play by James Cummings to see something that's worked before and let's try it again kind of thing.
And where do you think Valana maps? Just behind the leading pair?
I had him sort of, 2 to 3 pairs back midfield. I don't think James will want to give up too much ground. And I think by that time of the day anyway, J-Mac will sort of know where to settle.
Yeah. I'm in agreement that obviously Marzu and Valana are the 2 class horses. Jigsaw's probably getting a little bit on now and a little bit long in the tooth. Marzu definitely more so a wet track runner if rain was to come, which is not forecasted. I think he'd be a lot harder to beat. Strange to put the blinkers on him first time so late in his career.
Yeah, I think that's just now a Joe Pride tactic. He likes to tinker with the
I had a lot of luck finding Joe Pride blinkers first time or blinkers again. I think he's probably one. I'd like to know what the stat is, but I've certainly had luck with that when he puts blinkers on. I think it's a very good show of intent.
He used to do it a lot with titanium power.
Yes.
Tinker with the blinkers, bring it up, take them off first and second up, throw them on third up.
Yes.
And he was pretty successful at that.
I can see. Totally agree. Valana very hard to beat. I like the drop back in trip. There's actually Opal Ridge. I agree with what you said first up. I do think she can still take improvement from the run, but yes, concede there could be a little bit of a flatness, and maybe she does race well fresh. Mm-hmm. I want to use her form line though in the I Own a Merc. Mm-hmm. Was Rachel, I am a fan of Rachel Kring. I do not know what she thought she was doing last start, pulling him so far back in that race. Mm-hmm. The fence wasn't the place to be. She could have sat wide with cover, but she restrained him so far back, then made his run and allowed him to try and really, he just got going way too late. He was flying late. And I think had he had sat closer, he should have definitely finished second. And maybe could have even won the race. And when you look at the fact that Opal Ridge is $5 best, pretty much $4.80, $4.60 in the market, and you're getting $19 I Own a Merc, and you've got Mark Duplessis going aboard, I think great value at the $19. Great each way value. Do concede Valana's probably equal top pick. Two other little mentions for anyone that likes them. At Wits End, $71. I did like the way he hit the line last up. Maybe in a slightly easier race, but thought it could be one for exotics. And a horse that I've had a little bit of time for, What You Need. Mm-hmm. Didn't have a lot of luck last start. Craig Williams goes aboard. I just think, around the $13 mark could be a little bit of value.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about the conditions. I'll just compare two of the horses you brought up, Valana and I Own a Merc. So I Own a Merc in the wet conditions, in its last 5 starts in wet conditions, has only won one race. And then you go to Valana in terms of wet conditions. In its last 10 starts in wet conditions, has won 5, come second in 2, and come third in 1. So quite good in the wet if you want to go down that route. Is that the horse that definitely stands out as the clear one for you guys?
Yeah, definitely.
I think definitely got a good chance. Probably not my clear pick. I think there's a few roughies in the race that can go word, as I said. But yeah, it's probably it's one of the top picks.
Well, let's walk through your best bets then for the weekend. What's your multi?
We'll start off with you, Tom. What are your best bets?
Beautiful. So we'll go to Eagle Farm Race 1, Princess Rainus. I've got the 2 market elects the other way around. I think Age of Sail will improve with the run after being first up. So I think I'll be leaning the way of Princess Rainus with J-Mac on. Then we move to Flemington Race 4. I've got Quantum Cat now, 4th up with Damien Lane on. Only rises 100 metres now, which I think is more suitable than the 400 metre distance rises that it's been taking in its last few starts. Should get a nice map, and I think could be hard to beat. And then we'll move to Randwick Race 6, the Black Cloud. Was super impressive winning first up over this track and distance. Only rises 3 kilos in weight for a race that is of similar class. And I don't think the wet ground should be any problem and should be winning again.
Yeah, Mace, what's your best bet?
We're going for 3 times lucky here in It's a Wonder. Race 5, number 15, Randwick. This is the 3rd time tipping. She didn't make it into the field as an emergency the first time. Races were called off. Once again, gets in, lightweight. Run last start at Wagga was highly impressive against the bias. No weight here. Jay Ford rides. Drawn well. I think we'll be winning. Race 6, number 13, the Black Cloud. Couldn't have been more impressive first start. Lightly raced horse, going places. I think he'll be also winning. Eagle Farm, race 7, number 1. We're going to have to break La Creek, going to have to break the bar plates hoodoo, and I'm just hoping that just gives us a better price on the day. I think best horse in the race by far gets J-Mac, and if we can overcome bar plates, we'll be winning. And we'll finish off with, in the Oaks, race 8, number 9, Ahuri. Craig Williams, sorry, mate, you had an absolute shocker last start in the Derby. I think it's the right form line. And I just think with even like from a wide gate, she'll be storming over the top of him and can be winning here.
All right, well, I'll start with you this time, Mace. What's your Saturday double?
Yes, we are going to stick with race 6, number 13, the Black Cloud.
What about yourself, mate?
I am going to go for Flemington Race 4, Quantum Cat.
Perfect. Well, you can access all of those bets on CrossBet, our good friends at CrossBet. Make sure you go under the BTFU hub to access all of these bets. Put the bets on in one click. No one does it that easy. Make sure to download the CrossBet app if you haven't already. Lads, great week again. Hopefully, Mace, very lucky this weekend, potentially.
Hopefully.
Cheers.
Thank you.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.